Quality does not mean complexity. In fact, often the most functional designs are the simplest. We've all heard things like, keep it simple, stupid, or let's get down to brass tacks. A bit cliche, but these phrases do hold some truth. As web designers, we can use simple and consistent design principles to solve complex challenges for our customers. Up next is a talented UX designer, architect, and consultant. Please welcome co-founder at UXATT, Cathi Bosco, who will present work on your core web design principles you'll use every day.
Hi everyone, I'm very happy to be here to talk with you about user-centric design practices. Let's just have a conversation. Don't worry too much about the slides. I'd love to have your questions and feedback in the chat or in Twitter. It's really critical for us to be able to unlock more time for ourselves and our teams so that we can get paid to do better work. And design as a discipline is way more than just visual design. And our clients and our stakeholders that we work for often think that design is simply visual design. So those are 2 points that you'll see come up again and again throughout the presentation. We're going to take a look at user-centric design practices through these categories: motivation, why we want to unlock more time for our teams and ourselves, designing for experience, usability design models. Those are the charts I'll share with everyone. We're going to talk about collaboration, service and business operations, UX research and discovery, which is a big part of design, and then we'll finish with visual design. To kick things off with motivation, there are reasons we want to unlock more time for ourselves and our teams. And we find that people fall into 3 primary groups. The first group I'll call the freedom group. This group of people, designers, they want to unlock more free time. They want to make more time for things like fitness or family or any non-work related activity like travel or training for a marathon or, taking care of a parent or something like that. They want freedom, and that's why they need to unlock more time and build in efficiencies. The second group is more entrepreneurial or interested in growing their business, and they need more time to build their business. Maybe we want to have more resources and offerings for our clients. Maybe we want to build up our business because someday we want to sell it in the future. Or maybe we want to build up our network and collaborate with engineers or marketing teams or expand our offerings. So that's the entrepreneurial growth, increased revenue, those kinds of things. And then the third group is, I'm going to call them future proofers. The third group of designers and teams, they need more time to learn. They want to master a vertical aspect of the design practice. They want to learn, they want to teach. They want to maybe transition to consulting or working on very large scale projects with very specialized collaborators. So we have 3 primary groups of people who want to unlock time for 3 primary reasons. Now, I find myself relating to all 3, and some years I'll focus on one more than the other, my spare time, and you might as well, but we'll refer to these 3 groups as we progress through the presentation. Design for experience. So user-centric design means designing experiences for our users based on their needs. So my husband and I are both, our backgrounds in fine art. So we were sculptors, we worked in time arts, we created installations that people moved through in space and time that created this art installation experience for people. And this is before digital existed. So this is back in analog days. We were working with end users. And Dominic had a great model for defining art as an experience and not an object. So it was an equilateral triangle with rather than where websites, it would be an object, an artist, and an audience. And in the middle is art or the experience. And so what I've done with my design software as an experience is I've put website in the place of the object, the designer in place of the artist and end users in the place of audience. So what we're really creating through software are experiences. We're not building a thing, an app, a website. What we're building are meaningful experiences for end users to accomplish their tasks, whatever those are. So shifting our mind to thinking of design as an experience also unlocks user-centric thinking. There are a variety of experiences we can design for. So in terms of website design experiences, one is publishing. So a website where people can create content or consume content, anything from hobby bloggers up to enterprise scale digital publishers. E-commerce is also a great experience on the web, right? But it requires some specialties and maybe some collaboration, A/B testing and marketing teams. And it's its own specialized niche of experience. Third would be business or marketing websites. So these websites are designed to communicate value proposition to people who are searching for their offerings. And then online learning is its own experience, and it can include live or recorded or self-paced learning, often with courses that are based on membership or subscription functionality. So this is also a very unique experience and requires specialized, masterful design skills. And then the last one is membership. Communities for people who are passionate about a certain subject matter. So understanding the variety of experiences is helpful to defining the experience we're going to design for our end users. In 2020, I joined with my partners, Jackie D'Elia and Monique Doubleman, and we constructed a usability model. And this usability model had 3 tiers. The bottom base layer is about performant, secure, and accessible. So if a website is not performant, it's not usable. If a website's not secure, it's not usable. If a website's not accessible, it's not usable. And this is like a pillar of usability that we treat each and every project through the lens of. Above that, the second tier is the 10 heuristics. And these are 10 well-proven principles on how usable software is for people. This, if you're not familiar with the 10 heuristics, it was invented in, I think, or documented in 1994 by Jacob Nielsen at Nielsen Norman Group. And the definition of heuristic is enabling a person to do things on their own, essentially. So a couple of the heuristics of the 10, one would be flexibility and efficiency of use. So think about keyboard shortcuts. Advanced user groups would do keyboard shortcuts to use software, while a less advanced experience level might need an onboarding wizard to get engaged with software. Another of the 10 heuristics is visibility of system status. So keeping users informed about what is happening, like they need appropriate feedback between interactions, and we have to design this into our software. Think about progress indicators or form confirmations. So these 10 heuristics are a critical part of whether software is usable, and we refer to it and have been building on this over time. The top tier is delight. Delight's a fun one. Think about interactions. It takes the experience from neutral to really delightful, like the MailChimp. I'm sending an email blast to everyone in my group. That on MailChimp, they have this animated monkey who's got sweat pouring out of his head with his hand on the button. And you're like, are you sure? I mean, that just adds so much delight to that pushing of the button. So where we can add delight, we like to do that too. In 2021, this year, we added a new base level to the usability model, and that's ethical and sustainable and inclusive. Everybody making design decisions about a product, a site, an app, or whatever we're working on is making those design decisions on behalf of end users. And we have a lot of responsibility because our end users could be anywhere in the world under a variety or multitude of circumstances. And it's our responsibility to think very carefully about how those decisions will impact the people on the other end of those experiences. Sustainability, sure, energy saving, but also in terms of content, evergreen content that's reusable can be a really powerful way to create great outcomes for end users and over again. Inclusivity, yeah. Well, we work really hard to help our teams remove unconscious bias through the development and design process and through our communications. So it's a primary fundamental aspect of our work. And of course, we've got UX writing all throughout, and that means writing for engagement, not for sales, removing marketing jargon as much as we can. End users don't really need a lot of marketing jargon. And then findability. If a site's not findable, no one's going to use it. So this is the usability model. Next, we'll talk a little bit about collaboration. We have to unlock time, no matter what group you're in. If you're the freedom group, the business growth group, or the future proofers, we need to unlock time for collaboration with other specialized areas of our website software development teams. Use collaborative tools as much as we can. We try really hard to consider the end user's needs and the business goals. The best designers are able to balance both. And that comes with experience over time and collaboration. Here are some of the people we collaborate with. And I think all three groups, the freedom group, the business growth group, and the future proofers, benefit from having time to collaborate. Service and business ops. We always try to lead by example to give our clients a great experience working with us so that they're doing the same thing for their end users. They trust us to have the skills they need for their various projects. When we engage with clients, we filter that through three things. First of all, not every client's a good fit. So we try and we do choose who we work with very carefully. We go through three things to start out with. First thing is budget. Is the budget a fit? Is the timeline a fit? Do we have the resource in place to deliver what we think at this stage will be required for the project? And if we have those three things, then we will move into what we call a paid discovery period. So early in my career, I was not doing paid discovery, but now we do. And it makes a huge difference in scoping projects and building the trust with the client to outline the goals. No one's rushing through important research work or discovery work because we're not getting paid for that part. We just have to do it. It helps us unlock and scope a project in a really healthy way. And it helps us not waste time working on things we shouldn't be. So these are some of the things we consider when we're choosing our clients. Amy Mason from Sumi Designs, she's amazing at adding automation into her practice. And she shared with us one of the best tools that she uses is Zapier. Here's a quote from Amy. She uses a lot of different automations, but her very favorite is client onboarding. When someone signs their contract and pays their first invoice, she sends them a link to an online discovery form. And when they complete the form, this huge series of automations take place. She saves herself so much time in setting up and onboarding clients. They even get like welcome messages in Slack. Amazing. To continue on the subject of services and business ops, don't be like me. Start early on predicting and estimating the amount of time it will take to accomplish work for clients, and track your time and measure progress over time. I wish I had started doing this from the very, very beginning, and I still struggle with it because I love working so immersely in my work and the projects and mapping things and making customer journey maps and just losing track of time and getting in the flow of the work. But if we don't predict and track and measure our time well, we don't get paid for our time, and we will lose the opportunity to do better work. So don't be like me. Do this and do it early on and get really good at it. Success will be yours much sooner than it was for me. Also, it's important to know what services you and your network can confidently provide. Be really clear and transparent about that. And by tracking your time, you'll also be able to know what you're efficient at in a really honest way with yourself. Here are some of the services different agencies provide, a little brainstorm for us. One thing I've found over time that it's important to track and measure is oversight time. So we got to plan for that too. If you manage a team and someone is sort of a newbie or is like mentoring with you, or is maybe not a really experienced designer or person on your team, you're probably going to have to budget at least an hour every day to collaborate with this person and oversee some of the work you're doing together. And if they're a mid-level person, a half hour every day. And if there's someone your own level that you're collaborating with or that's a member of your team, at least 15 minutes a day. So don't forget about budgeting for that time. And it's just a little formula that you can use to help track that and estimate that time. And that will really help both the Freedom Group, the Business Growth Group, and our future leaders, teachers, future proofers. Everyone will benefit from actually knowing how much time everything takes. Let's look at UX research and discovery. This is my favorite. The key to user-centric design and exceeding clients' basic expectations is including research and exposing our software to users to test it. So I do some product design now, so we do a lot of usability testing with actual people using our software, showing us what's working for them, what's frustrating, what's not. But leveraging both tactical and strategic work is important. Here is a look at some of the research and discovery tasks, if you will, that we do. So I think this illustrates very well that design is way more than just visual design. We're talking content strategy. We're talking auditing for accessibility, value proposition, mapping the critical task flows through applications, user research studies, stakeholder interviews, analyzing metrics, information, navigation. I could go on and on. It's so much more than visual design. And we have to be honest with ourselves about how much time it takes to do the work we're doing so that we stay within scope and we get paid to do the best work we can possibly do. Here's a great hill chart from Ryan Singer of Basecamp, and it really illustrates over time how much research is in a project. So we start out knowing nothing about a product or a site. We go through research and discovery until we know and understand what the problems are we need to solve for users. And then the second half, we are in the knowns where we're getting it done. We're building it. It's being engineered and developed. So when you look at that, that's half the time. And I would say my observation is that not everyone budgets for that and plans for that. And maybe not every project requires half, but it should be always included. In this chart, this is probably more for the third group of designers or teams who want to future-proof their skills or become masterful in a certain vertical aspect of the design practice. And this is a chart. If you've never worked in Agile, it might be interesting to see this. This is 6 sprints. We start with sprint 0 in this example of dual track Agile engineering methodologies. So in sprint 0, we do discovery work and research, and that informs what gets developed in the first sprint from the engineering team. And while they're doing that in the first sprint, we're doing research and design and discovery work that will inform the second sprint that will get engineered and developed, and so forth and so on. Sometimes it's really nice to be 2 or 3 sprints ahead of engineering as well. But we build things incrementally in the Agile flow, and then at the end we release versions of software or websites. So it's important to have time to learn about these things if you want to future-proof your career. Last is visual design. Design includes way more than visual design, but some of the tasks we do include research, UX writing, journey mapping, prototyping. Here's a little list of some of the specific visual design tasks that we do. And remember, don't be like me. Estimate and track your time. It will really reduce risk on projects and unlock successful outcomes for your clients, and you'll get paid to do better work in the end. We do logos and branding and prototypes, and we measure color contrast to meet accessibility standards so that all of our software is easy to use for people who are colorblind or who work from a mobile phone because of glare. It's hard to see a screen. Like, there's a whole structure of check marks we go through to make sure things are accessible and usable. There are ways we can leverage resources to maximize our time. And what we do is we leverage that usability model and our responsibilities regarding usability. And we always do paid discovery before scoping a project now. I highly recommend that practice so that you can be sure to have time to do the user-centric UX design, customer design practices that make projects really successful. Market leaders include these in their practice, and that's what gives them advantages. Working collaboratively is also key to unlocking time for developing new opportunities. So that's really important if you're interested in growing your business. You're in the second group of growth and entrepreneurship, as well as the third group, and you just want to try and learn as much as you can about our design world. Build a network, experiment with UX, UI, CX, customer experience. It's a huge toolbox. Design encompasses a lot of things. And if we embrace our core user-centric design practices, it will support us in whichever direction we go and build from. Keep in mind that great designers, the best designers, can balance users' needs with business goals. And that comes with experience and practice over time. So here is a user-centric design weak spot audit, but it will also unlock a lot of validation for teams, I think. You can go through this worksheet and see where your strengths and weaknesses are as a designer or as a team. And it will also help you identify different areas you could maybe work on improving if you can unlock time with a lot of the tools and resources available in this day and age for design teams. So I guess embrace user-centric practices so that we can get paid to do better work is the main message of this talk, and work efficiently with teams that operate from a single source of truth. We got to do the research. We can't make assumptions about what people need. And I'll share this, to close the talk, I'll share this last quote. It's from Albert Einstein, and it goes like this. Productivity isn't about getting more things done. Rather, it's about getting the right things done while doing less. And just like Albert Einstein, we can achieve so much more and unleash our full potential if we can get the right things done while doing less. So thanks for joining the talk. I really appreciated the opportunity to share some of our work with you today.